I'm not going to do that. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be checking out the mythical, long-awaited Zack Snyder's Justice League in 4K. This is not going to be a movie review. I'm just going to share some of my thoughts on the video and the audio quality. But before we jump into it, if you're new to the channel and you're into movies and home theater, consider tapping that subscribe button for new weekly videos. Now let's go over a few tech specs. The movie was shot on 35mm. It's got a 4K DI. It's rated R. Runtime is 242 minutes and the aspect ratio is 1.33. So you will have black pillar boxing on the sides of your display since the movie was formatted to be seen on IMAX screens. For image quality, this looks pretty much how Batman v Superman looks. The color palette has the same muted appearance, so reds and blues and greens are not going to be Aquaman vibrant or even look as colorful as the theatrical version of JL. It's going to be more or less kind of grayer and almost dingy looking. It'll give the movie a much darker, grittier feel. If you've seen any Zack Snyder's movies, then you'll get the idea. Along with the grittier color palette, there is also a fine layer of grain throughout. I don't believe it's as grainy as BVS, but this could be because it's a digital stream. And because it is a digital stream, I did see the occasional color banding in some of the orangey skyline shots towards the end. I'm sure when the physical release comes out, you won't see any of that. As for the HDR, again, since this isn't the most vibrant movie, you're not going to be impressed with bold, beautiful colors. Black levels are very deep, and there is a lot of dark shots in the movie. There's also some very bright peak highlights, so those deep dark blacks will contrast nicely against the brighter elements. Things like explosions and flames can get eye-blindingly bright, and specular highlights from omega beams and lightning will jump off the screen. As for detail, just like Man of Steel and BVS, it's not razor-sharp 4K crisp. As mentioned before, it does have grain, but there's also good textural detail. Close-ups are still going to reveal pores and wrinkles, and you'll even see how well they rendered Steppenwolf's metallic sheen on his armor. It kind of reflects all the colors of whatever background he's standing in that particular moment. And speaking of digital effects, I think for the most part, the live action blended in well with the CG backdrops. But there are things that look unfinished and, at least to my eyes, kind of drew my attention to itself. The stone pedestal that's holding the mother box in Themyscira didn't quite match the rest of the scene, and Clark fighting the Flash looked like he was floating in a green screen. This particular scene looked the same way as it did in the Whedon cut, and it didn't get any better here. But overall though, it is a visually impressive looking movie, just like a real-life comic book page come to life.
More or less.
Audio is in Dolby Atmos, and it's got some really good surround sound within the lower channels. Atmos height activity only really came on if something was falling from above or someone was flying up in the air. If we take a look at the Dolby Atmos viewer, you can see here during the Wonder Woman bank scene that the lower channels are lit up constantly. The yellow balls, which are the surround sound objects, don't dynamically move, so this movie plays out more like a channel-based mix rather than an object-based mix. You're still going to hear bullets zipping past your head and reflecting off of Wonder Woman's armor, but you won't hear anything happening from above until she flies up in the air. The other big action scene is the Batman car chase. Again, the lower channels are very active, but the height channels are only occasionally active, which is a little odd because you'd think you'd be able to hear the parademons flying above you. When the buildings collapse, though, you will hear those falling above your head. Aside from all the action, there is good ambiance during the quieter moments. You'll hear birds chirping, some environmental sounds, along with music that'll surround you within the lower level speakers. As for bass response, there is some demo-worthy stuff here. The Batman car chase again is going to seriously give your subs a workout. It hits real hard when things are blowing up, and if you want excellent low-end extension, anytime the boom tubes would show up, the bass is going to resonate ultra low and shake your entire house. I found Soundstage has a big, grandiose cinematic feel, and the one thing that really stands out and elevates this movie from the previous one is the new musical score. It's got richly detailed layers, and it's an overall rocking good time. Dialogue was solidly planted in the center channel and was always easy to hear. So for audio, I'm gonna go with a 9.4. This plays out like an awesome 7-channel mix with some sporadic height channel activity. For such a big movie, I was hoping for more of an immersive bubble. I mean, if there was something happening on screen where something is obviously flying up in the air, then yes, the height channels are going to kick on. But for some off-screen effects where you might be expecting some sort of ambiance or parademon flying away, you won't get it. And that's kind of a bummer. Still though, it's a fun audio mix and an aggressive one at that. For video, I'm gonna go 9.3. This looks very much like the rest of the Snyder DC movies. It's got that high contrast visual aesthetic with a muted color palette. The HDR can make the bright elements pop, and there's film grain for the grain lovers. And if you like the 4:3 IMAX aspect ratio, you're gonna be in for a real treat. Or you're gonna hate how small it looks on your TV. So those are my thoughts on Zack Snyder's Justice League. If you've seen the original one and you hated it, I think you're gonna like this one a lot more. Now, what are your thoughts on this new iteration of the Justice League? Do you prefer the theatrical cut or the Snyder cut? Leave a comment and let us know. As always, guys, thanks for watching. If you want, you can follow us on social media, and if you want to support the channel and get exclusive content and great discounts on audio and video gear, then stop by our Patreon page. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys again in the next video.